Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we dig into the details of corporate filings so you don't have to. Today we're diving into an Entergy Texas document, and let me tell you, deciphering it is almost as complicated as understanding your electricity bill after a heatwave. Speaking of electricity, there is a lot to unpack here, including a discussion on executive compensation, which might make your own bill look tiny. Before we get to that, if you appreciate getting straight insights from complicated documents, make sure you're subscribed. We also have a Discord community linked in the description below. This isn't your typical earnings report, it's a Schedule 14C information statement. Think of it as a formal heads up that Entergy Texas is sharing with its shareholders, especially the preferred ones, about some decisions made through a written consent instead of a regular shareholder meeting. Basically, the big boss, Entergy Corporation, made some moves, and this is to keep everyone informed. The main thing here is the election of the board of directors. Instead of holding a big meeting, the main shareholder approved the same directors who were already in place. It's like a formality to keep things running smoothly. Seems boring, but it's important for how the company operates and the people steering the ship. Let's meet the board, or rather the re-elected members of the board. First we have Elisa Viamontes, 42 years old, the chairman, president, and CEO of Entergy Texas. He's been a director since 2021. Next up is Kimberly Fontan, age 52. She is executive vice president and chief operating officer. Not a lot of independent voices here, but lots of industry experience. She's executive vice president and chief financial officer. Finally, Kimberly Cook Nelson, age 53. She is executive vice president and chief financial officer. Finally, Kimberly Cook Nelson, age 53. She's Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer. Not a lot of independent voices here, but lots of industry experience. It is also nice to see there is a female voice present on the board. Boards can improve their performance by including more women. Just for good measure, there are no family ties among the directors. This is something SEC reports always mention to ensure that things are clean and that there is no shady family business. Here's where things get a bit technical. Entergy Texas takes advantage of some exemptions from the New York Stock Exchange because its listed securities are preferred stock. This means they don't have to follow all the typical corporate governance rules, like having a majority of independent directors. All directors are officers of the company, meaning they don't meet independence requirements. Something to keep in mind. Even though Entergy Texas doesn't have its own committees, Entergy Corporation's board committees oversee things. The Audit Committee oversees financial reporting, compliance, and even cybersecurity. The Corporate Governance Committee handles director nominations and sustainability, while the Talent and Compensation Committee decides executive pay. These committees add a crucial layer of oversight. Let's move to the audit fees. For 2024, Deloitte & Touche billed the company $1,341.1629 for audit services. All these fees were pre-approved. I am not an accountant, but that looks like the cost of keeping good books. Now, what we've all been waiting for, executive compensation. Let's dive into the 2024 summary compensation table. It is always the section in a SEC document that causes the most compensation. First up, we have Elisa Viamontes, he's the CEO. His total compensation clocked in at $1,146,622. Then there is Kimberly Fontan with a total compensation of $3,622. Then there is Kimberly Fontan with a total compensation of $3,008 that provides a basic need and therefore should have stable results, offer compensation of $3,007. Marcus Brown had a total package of $4,44. And leading the pack on this report is Andrew Marsh with a whopping $12,846.622. Then there is Kimberly Fontan with a total compensation of $4,000 and leading the pack on this report is Andrew Marsh with a total compensation of $3,080. Top executive anymore. The big takeaways here are understanding how the company justifies these numbers through its pay for performance philosophy, tying executive pay to company goals and long-term value creation, motivate, attract, and retain. Is that all they are doing there? Keep in mind that some NEOs also saw an increase in their base salaries to transition below market salaries. I will leave that up to you to decide though. Digging deeper, what we see is that 60% of the annual incentive depends on ETR adjusted FES, a metric that the company presents to remove one-time adjustments like storms. With also 10% of safety and customer NPS, the elephant in the room is safety though. How can the company reduce the aim due to poor numbers in serious and fatal incidents and yet pay out 46% target? It just seems to defeat for the goal of it. Perhaps there is a good intent here, but it does not land well. For the long-term compensation now includes carbon reduction goals, indicating Entergy's recognition towards this goal. This looks interesting. In terms of long-term equity, the executives received generous packages in performance units, stock options, and restricted stock. Of note, the company always sets very clear predetermined exclusion that impact earnings. The list, which includes weather and any government-imposed changes, are very long to avoid penalizing or skewing the top-line numbers and allow for adjusted numbers to be more accurate. Basically, the message here is that external facts should not impact executive pay. Finally, there are strict policies on trading and hedging. Key executives need pre-clearance from legal before trading company securities. They are not able to do short sales. Nobody at the top is allowed to bet against the company performing well. Okay, so let's talk about the pay ratio. In 2024, the CEO's compensation was about 7 times the median employee's pay. That does not seem like a lot compared to other industries. In fact, it looks quite tame. Alright, that's our breakdown of Entergy Texas's information statement. Overall, the company seems to be financially solid and on course to make changes for the future. So, what's my take on all this? Here is what is notable. On both the performance and long-term incentive programs, they are at the mercy of external factors. I want to point that out because it's a double-edged sword. If things go south, bad weather, government policies, a new pandemic, this measure is very well thought of. It protects the executives. However, there is no point in having strong metrics pay for performance when you are constantly removing them just because. Maybe the company should rethink those. Lastly, I found it really interesting that the board added objectives to have an environmental impact. And that's it all for today's video. What's your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Make sure to drop a like, it helps a lot and lets me know you appreciate it. And subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to come join our Discord server in the description. Thanks for watching and until next time.